Okay, this is going to be the exciting conclusion to the Mortal Kombat 4 arcade restoration saga. I think I can call it a restoration. It didn't need too much work. It did need a monitor. It needed some control work done to it. This video is pretty much going to be all about getting the monitor worked out, and it was quite a process. I'm not great at working on my own monitors, but I'm learning quite a bit after getting this done, so let's just get right into it. Here we go. This is where we are with the monitor now. I have quickly learned to work on these a little bit more, or get a little more comfortable with working on these. So it's taped on here now. This is, I think this is called the convergence yoke. I don't know. Essentially, this thing is supposed to be connected back here. It is not. It is so broken that if the tape isn't on here, I can move this entire thing around. So you guys may remember that I don't love, or I used to not discharge my own monitors. And to be perfectly honest with you, I still don't feel great doing it. Especially these that don't, this one does not self-discharge. So when it turns off the power, it's still, you don't hear it crackling and releasing the electricity. It is still in there. So I've been doing it without a glove, but I did buy these crazy gloves like I showed you. I may have showed you earlier. So I figured why not use them, make me feel a little more insulated, even though there's really no need to worry. But here we go. Listen to the noise this thing makes. Wait, did I unplug it? Okay. Ooh. Yeah, good crackle. Snap, crackle, and pop. That could have been my fingers. Okay, a slight adjustment has been made. I've tilted it back this way, and I know that I've been told that you can actually work on these while the power is on and while the thing's running, which is actually why I bought the gloves. When I did try it, the 2 times I've tried it, as soon as I barely move that thing, I hear a pop, and the screen has a big white line in like the middle of it. Not like a horizontal collapse or a vertical collapse or whatever, but just a pop with a thick chunk of line in the middle of it. So I figure that's probably not good. And what I think is happening is right here, I'm gonna try to zoom in. This little bit of coil, I think, slips and gets too close to that screw, which used to be the thing that I think helped hold it in place, but it's so broken now that it's just not possible. So I think that's what's happening, and I think it's just not a good idea for me to keep trying to move it around while it's on. I don't want to damage this thing further. I have a feeling this monitor is going to end up being as good as I can get it kind of set up. Anyway, let's turn it on. I thought I'd at least record the turn on process. Let's listen. I'm going to take my mic off and you can hear the sound of this thing when it charges up. You might even see there's a little arc of electricity occasionally in there. Here we go. Did not see electricity this time. All right, so it's still a little crooked. I don't know how I keep screwing this up. So now it's this way too much, which isn't that bad, but I definitely need to fix it. At least we're getting somewhere. As soon as I get this thing in a position where I think it looks really good, I'm just going to say, that's where it sits. I'm gluing it down, and then I'll epoxy it later and hope it stays. In order to save you guys some time of watching a failed project, let me just cut in here. The monitor you saw me working on in the beginning was just too far gone. I got it running, it looked okay. I was having some weird issues with it. I then asked Mike's Amateur Arcade Monitor Repair, what the heck's going on with this thing? And he told me it's probably a bad shadow mask, I think, or maybe the shadow mask was damaged inside the tube, basically saying don't bother anymore. Let's just find a new monitor. I mean, it could have gotten me by, but I got really lucky and I found another monitor, so let's move forward and you'll hear a little bit about that. This was the monitor we were trying to fix. Gave up on this for now, and we have a new one right here that just so happens to be this exact same model number. So this one is the original, right there. And I randomly messaged a guy on Facebook Marketplace who clearly sold arcades and said, hey, you wouldn't happen to have a 25-inch standard res monitor. Even if you don't have a chassis, just let me know. If you happen to have one, I'd love to, consider buying it. He's like, yeah, I think I do have some. So what luck, by the way. I just messaged this guy. Problem was he was 3 hours away. We went all the way up to Conroe, Texas, which is north of Houston, to get it. The guy I bought this monitor from actually had a crazy arcade collection. When he gave me his address, it was a storage facility. I assumed maybe he owned it because he was just going to leave the tubes outside that I was buying, and I would scoot the money under the door, that kind of deal. Well, when I got there, he was actually there, and I'm really happy he was. Because right when we pulled up, we saw tons of arcades in one of the units, and he was standing several units down. So we went up there and talked to him. He had another unit full of cabinets. If I remember what he told me correctly, I think he has at least 4 units out there, possibly more, full of arcade cabinets. I mean, tons of them. You couldn't even get to the back to see how many were there. Really cool games in there. A WrestleMania cabinet dedicated, which blew me away. I never see those anymore. He had monitors, he had bezels for the monitors, he had PCBs that I didn't get to see, but he told me about. It was pretty insane. I may be going back to buy another game or two from him in the future. Here we are, it's home. I could not wait to hook this thing up. I have not turned it on yet. I'm scared. I'm gonna turn it on and just see what we get. Tripod is in the shed, so I'm just gonna turn this thing on and go around the other. Well, first of all, I wanna make sure there's not gonna be any crazy sparks or smoke or anything like that, and then we're gonna go around the front and see what it looks like. Let me look at everything one more time. Okay, JoJo confirmed with me that everything's good, but here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, I actually saw a little electricity there. Nothing seems to have exploded yet, so that's good. Do we have a picture? And the light's on in here, so it's gonna take a second to really see it. We have a picture, and somehow it's upside down, even though I made sure to remember which way everything went. So let me fix that real quick. There we go, we have an image. It's dark, it's not in the right position, but I'm going to hopefully adjust it right now and get it looking good, and I'll come back and show you guys. It's mostly adjusted to where I want it at the moment. I won't probably be able to get final adjustments done until it's in the shed where it's gonna sit. There is some writing on this screen that needs to get wiped off. It's on there pretty good, so I'm hoping it comes off. I just realized I still need to adjust the width and everything. Luckily I can do that when it's in the cabinet pretty easily. But I think we're looking pretty good. Pretty excited. Yeah, there we go. So that means tomorrow I can take this cabinet, I'm gonna pull the control deck off, I'm gonna take it into the shed. It'll be a lot lighter to do it that way. Get this thing in the shed, put the control deck back on, hook everything up, put this bad boy inside, and I think we're finally done with Mortal Kombat. I'm very excited to be done with Mr. Big Bald Head over there and get him in there to start enjoying the game. Before I get moved in, I gotta, of course, make room. This is gonna be moved off to the side temporarily until I can mod it with a PC and just sell it off. But over here, which is where the Carnival was sitting, I've got to move this extremely heavy Target Terror. I don't know why this cabinet is so ridiculously heavy. It doesn't look all that huge, but this one was a massive struggle to get in here, and it's hard to move it as it is now. So I'm going to move it over to this spot. Mortal Kombat's going to go in this spot. Carnival's going to move over here. I'm thinking probably where the MK2 is. Things are going to shuffle around. I think Blitz may actually make a trip over here by the door just so we could see the cool art on the side. I don't know. I always thought it was nice and colorful and looked really good. Probably move that over, move one of the Killer Instincts over there. I've got to get rid of one of those eventually. We'll figure that out. So I almost never get to see the side of Killer Instinct anymore, and really I wanted to have this game on the outside of all the games, but it sticks out more than Target Terror. This is kind of like my only sit-down hangout spot, and you can't even, like, if you're standing here, you can't even see the full TV here anymore. I mean, this TV over here shows the same thing. I just don't think it's a good idea to put a giant game there. Eventually, once more of the arcade one-ups get replaced with real machines, maybe I can rearrange. And I won't keep Target Terror forever, but yeah, it's cool to see the side of Killer Instinct, and I'm so happy with how good this art looks. This is not reproduction, this is original art that was on here. It always has that kind of feel to it. That is how you know it's original, and I'm always stunned by how good it looks. There was some damage right here to Spinal's hand, or arm, I mean. And I filled it in with just some paint, or actually Sharpie, I think. I just filled it in with Sharpie, and you can hardly tell it's there, especially when you really get zoomed out. But anyway, this video is not about Killer Instinct, but man, I lucked out picking up this Killer Instinct. It's just beautiful. Oh yeah, and let's talk about the whole reason that I started recording that clip, which was, it doesn't look like enough space, but this is enough space and then some for Mortal Kombat 4 to go. I've got tons of wires right there, and that's my network line that I stream from, but I think it'll squeeze right in. I am on like a fisheye lens. Let's go regular. It still doesn't look like enough space, but it fits there according to measurements. And we'll get it in position and see how it looks. The cabinet's in the shed. We moved it in. Lady Cag helped me, or I would have shown you guys the process, but she did not want to be on camera. I took the control deck off, the monitor out, the glass out, and it was still pretty heavy. We got it out of the garage into the backyard and up the stairs pretty easily. Now I just got to get everything hooked up. I'm going to pull out the MK, this is the MK4 revision 2. I'm going to pull that out of here. And then we're going to come over here to this guy. The old, I'm sorry for laughing, it's still ridiculous, the rat's nest. Well, this is quite a mess. I have no idea what I'm doing here. I'm just going to try to hold these all together and not yank any wires out and pull this whole thing out of the back. Wow. All right.
Whoops, got a little knot here. Work on that.
I'm actually not sure if I'm going to be able to fix this at all. Not without completely rewiring the controls, and I don't know that I want to do that. And this is where I completely lost all hope and gave up on this JAMA harness.
Rat's Nest wins.
Here's my Revision 3 board. I have ordered a chipset for the Revision 2, but it's just going to be a spare board anyway. I'm going to put this one in that cabinet. And wow, there's a lot of work to do here, but I'm going to do that off camera. It's not terribly exciting. You know what happens. I'm going to pull the board off, pull that board off, put that board in there. Now I need to take the, this is the monitor adjustment board, and it's supposed to go like this. There's a piece of Velcro already here. There's not one on the back of this. I need to stick it here, but I'm going to use my own piece of Velcro. That way, if I need to adjust the monitor, I just lift up the control deck and I can do it here. So I'm just going to stick it. It's probably going to be crooked a little bit, but whatever. Just need it to stick. Let's put it right there. All right, and then I'm going to close the deck and make sure it doesn't hit anything. All right, I think we're good. Now I can reach in here and adjust the picture, which I've been struggling with for hours and hours, but I think we got it as good as we can get it. Revision 3 board is plugged in. All the connections are in. I've been looking over everything, making sure it's right before I turn it on. Power supply is good. I already tested that. The cord is now coming out of the back. We've got video. We've got power. I double checked the chassis, made sure everything made the trip nicely, and it did. I think all it's left to do now is turn it on. Okay, I'm back behind the machine. I'm about to flip the switch for the first time, hoping not to see any weird sparks or anything, but here we go. All right, I heard the monitor fire up. Marquee is on. Let's see what we get. This board has never been in this cabinet, so we'll see. Yeah, there we go. Very good sign to see it turn on, at least. Yeah. It's really weird. That pop never happened on the arcade one up, but it's a different set of speakers, I guess. I think we're good. There it is. So it's not on free play, and it's locked. God.
Outstanding.
There we go. All right. And it's running, so that's good. I'm just gonna get everything finished up on it, put it back in position. And here is the final product. This thing is done. I probably should have gotten more video of it when it was still out, but getting it in here was kind of tough. So it's in position for now. I'm really excited about it. I'm gonna take you guys off the tripod and show you around the cabinet, let you know my final thoughts on it. First, let's look at the marquee. Sorry about the glare from the overhead lighting. It looks great. I just realized I never got in there and put that back in the track. But still, the monitor, or the marquee light is super bright. The print still looks really good. This is still the original print it came with. Everything's looking good. I actually can't even see, I mean, I can't see it on camera especially, the areas that I didn't paint, which I'm kind of regretting, but who cares? I can always take that off and do that later. So let's have a look at the monitor now. So this one, I'm still struggling to get it 100% right. It luckily photographs very well. It looks great on camera in my opinion. It just doesn't look as bright as I'd hoped in here, and I don't know if that's an adjustment issue. This flyback, or this, maybe it's the tubes for all I know, maybe this model of tube, as soon as I turn the flyback up just a little bit, it goes way too bright, and if I turn it down just a little bit, it goes way, way too dim. So there's a very, very tiny sweet spot on here, and I think that's how a lot of flybacks are. But I don't know if it's just that Mortal Kombat 4 is kind of a dark game, and I didn't do it any favors by sitting it next to my ultra bright, beautiful looking Neotech Killer Instinct monitor. And Killer Instinct's a more bright game, I think, too. It's 100% playable and looks good. It's just, I feel like it should be a little bit brighter. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. I do want to say a huge thank you again to Jojo for coming by initially and spending like, I think 6 or 7 hours trying to get the chassis working, and then when we just couldn't get it done, we raised the white flag and talked to Mike from Mike's Amateur Arcade Monitor Repair. I think I'm finally getting that right. And he was incredibly nice and said, hey, I'll just send you a working chassis I have from my own collection, and you just mail me that one, and I'll fix it and keep it. So he didn't have to do any of that. All I had to pay for was shipping. He was incredibly helpful. He's been helpful behind the scenes too. Like, I'll message him and JoJo and be like, hey guys, am I screwing this up? Am I doing this right? And they tell me quickly, yeah, you're good, or no, change this or that. So thank you very much to both of those guys. Very, very helpful. If you don't know either of their channels, please go check them out. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. And if specifically, like, I can work on arcade stuff fairly well on my own. You know, the easy stuff, buttons, all that. But when it comes to monitors, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So I watch a lot of Mike's Amateur Arcade Monitor Repair. They're longer videos, but they're really actually entertaining to watch for one, and you learn something. So go check it out if you want to learn a little bit more about repairing arcade monitors. All right, I brought the lights back up. Let's look here. This insert looks pretty good out here. It's still not perfect down there. Some of the color or the print did come off. And whoever installed it at the factory installed it a hair crooked. And it kind of makes me nuts, but I'm going to stick with it for now. I can always buy a new sticker from XL Arcade, so we'll just leave the sticker for now. Call it good. The side art, I'll have to insert a picture. You know what it looks like, though. It's not perfect at the bottoms. You can still kind of see it down there where it must have had a little bit of water damage at some point. But let's look at the control deck. I love the feeling of a fresh set of controls and all that. I need to cut my nails. Love the feeling of all this stuff. And a new piece of Lexan makes all the difference in the world. Really enjoying these. Everything feels good. I don't know. That's like my joystick test right there. Oh yeah, it works. But I was happy to report, you know, when I did install them in the video before, the game was not on or playable, so I had to go into the service menu. One of the first things I did once I got this board in and everything hooked up was to test the controls, and thankfully they all worked. New T-molding all the way around, of course, and this print is like almost 100% perfect. A little bit of it coming up right there, and a little bit scuffed off. Also did a paint job on that front part there, put a new lock in. The lights do work, thankfully. And haven't tried both coin mechs, I just realized that. But I've got the keys hanging here. These are the original keys that are for the back of the cabinet. I don't have a single arcade cabinet that still has a lock that works on the back or has the original keys with it. And these are the original keys for the coin box. They just are hanging out in there. So I'm assuming they're original. I don't know if I can say that 100%, but yeah, they're in there, which is nice. Not much to see in here. You guys saw a lot of that. I want to say, I don't want to do it on camera because I want this game to stay quiet, but I tested this one just by pushing it. I haven't actually run coins through them, and this one worked. This one clicked, but it did not give any credits. I'll have to check into that later. I'm not too worried about it, though, because I never use the coin mechs or anything. Neither one is jammed that I can tell. But anyway, everything looks good in there. Let's close that up. So there we have it. I think it's done. Maybe a few more monitor adjustments will be done to it. I mean, I literally spent, I don't know if I said this in the video earlier, but I literally spent probably an hour and a half just tinkering over the last couple of days. And once I got this new tube, or not new, but a replacement tube up and running, I spent a ton of time. And then once we got it in here, in the light setting it's going to be in, Lady Cag stood in front of the cabinet while I was around the back adjusting the knobs, the color, the flyback, the focus, everything. And this is about as good as we can get it to look. Of course, there's also the adjustments that are under the deck for the monitor. Those have all been played with to the point of exhaustion. And I think this is about as good as it's going to look. And I just believe it doesn't look bad by any means. I just don't think it feels bright enough. And I think Mortal Kombat 4 is to blame on that. But I think it's probably just the darkness, the general darkness that is MK4. Like, watch when this closes up here. You know, that looks pretty good. It's just a dark game. Or maybe the tubes aren't that great for all I know. I know you want to see some gameplay, but this video is kind of long enough. If you're not familiar with my channel, on Mondays I try to do a Gameplay Monday, which is where I basically play an arcade game to distract you from your crappy Monday. While I play, I ramble on about whatever's going on in my life, so look forward to that on Monday. I think that said, though, I gotta at least do maybe one quick match for you guys before we wrap this up. So let me adjust the camera, and I'll point it right at the screen, and we'll just get right into it. All right, we're gonna do maybe a couple matches. One's not quite enough. I don't have the full setup running, and this game's gonna be turned up pretty loud, so let's not get crazy. I won't talk too much. We'll save that for Gameplay Monday. Let's do Liu Kang. There we go. The first match is always so easy. That's why I said let's at least do 2. Oh, wow. That combo did not land at all. It looks good on camera. Oh, I didn't get the uppercut for maximum damage. There we go.
Fatality.
Great fatality. I love that fatality on here. It's great in MK2, but on here it's just a little bit more action, swinging them all around. I like that a lot. Ah! Gotta corner him to really nail that combo. Oh!
Round 2, fight!
Oh, I thought I got away from that.
Excellent. Finish him!
There it is. Alright guys, that's all for this video. Be sure to check it out, or subscribe if you're new so you don't miss the Gameplay Monday. That will be coming the Monday after this video goes up. And give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'm so happy to have this finished. Once again, huge thank you to JoJo from the Wicked Arcade and Mike from Mike's Amateur Arcade Monitor Repair and Your MK Arcade Source. I'm going to link to all those in the description. Go check them out, give them a subscribe, all that stuff. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.